Welcome, everybody, to the show. Joining me is our co-host and fellow traveler, Dan Noodles Man, the unfortunate General Mac of Wargaming. Dan, how's it going tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. I started my new job as a janitor or taking care of a truck stop guyer.
So you're a janitor at a truck stop?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, I'm gonna have a lot of stuff.
I bet. I bet. Yeah. I want you to. If it takes a couple weeks, that's fine. But I'd like you to make an appearance on the show in the full hazmat gear that is no doubt required to perform that task.
Oh man, I hope it doesn't happen. I know something.
Oh no, I got to tell you, Dan. Doing that, you're gonna have maybe it hasn't happened yet, but you're gonna have an unpleasant time at some point.
Well, yeah, okay. Babies puke.
You're going to be puke. You're going to end up with grown-ass men taking a shit in the sink. What are you even talking about? So, probably just got us demonetized.
We're in Canada.
They're very civilized, and I'm sure they're very polite about shitting in the sink, but nevertheless, you will end up shitting in the sink.
I have a story about shitting in the sink, but I don't know if you want me to tell it.
Totally, I totally don't. Thank you. Anyway, so... my camera's off, but I can't fix it right now, so it is all good. So anyway, we want to talk tonight about, in addition to the other random shit that we'll no doubt talk about, we're going to talk about on-ramps to wargaming and how people got into wargaming. Not so much the interests that drove them into wargaming, which we've talked about before, but, what was the actual, logistical path? Did you get into it because your buddies were playing it? Did you get into it because you encountered some war game that you really took a shine to, and then got into other war games? Let's hear from the chat on this. A poop knife? Is there such a thing as a poop knife?
This is nuts.
Dan, I have no idea what
you guys
what
are
that
crazy.
even is.
Relax.
I didn't realize.
It's not just a truck stop. It's a
Canadian truck stop.
A center of service. A service center.
Oh, well, I'm sure nobody will poop in the sink in the service center then. So, advertisement in Boys Life. I remember Boys Life, and as I recall, that was printed by Avalon Hill, or by Monarch Avalon, the printing parent company, as I recall. So that is maybe not that surprising. Although, Scott, we've met. I didn't think you were old enough for them to still be advertising Tactics 2 back in the day. Now, I got in, and actually and I think Scott's mentioned this before, I got in a somewhat similar way. There was a magazine that was like this 16 or 24 page, it was a very thin magazine back in the day when I was a kid, called Science News. And in Science, and my parents would buy it for me because maybe this will shut this kid up. And there was an advertisement for Strategy and Tactics magazine in there, and I talked my parents into getting me whatever the smallest subscription was. And then that first game that showed up was, of course, Paratroop from S&T 79 or whatever that was, 78, 79, something like that. So, everybody's more ancient than me. I am youthful and energetic, right?
Ardy, let me tell you what. Yeah. Effing Christ! I just saw a Cheshire cat there. But anyways, let me tell you how I got into war games.
Yes, please.
I walked by a hobby store and I said, "What's this?" And my dad said, "It's a hobby store, son." And I said, "Papa, can we go in, but in Italian?" And he said, "Sure, let's go in, but in Italian." So we went in.
Now, where was this hobby store? Was this in Montreal, or was this in...
This was in NDG, the west of Montreal.
Okay, so it was in Canada, not Italy. That's why I'm asking.
I'm Italian. I was...
yeah, but you're Italian in the same sense that I'm Italian, so...
No, Anyways.
More or less, yeah.
No, man, I mean, my parents were directly from Italy. What about you?
My great-grandparents were directly from Italy.
Okay, so
my folks may have been here longer, but that's just a number.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I mean, me personally, I was raised Italian, right? Because my parents didn't speak shit from Shinola. You know what I'm saying?
My grandfather pretended to speak Italian, but he only knew the swear words.
But anyways, so I went in with my dad, and I was looking
And I'm
around.
pretty sure those were gibberish, to be honest. But
So
please continue.
I'm trying. I'm trying. Okay, Ardy.
I'm trying to let you continue.
So
No, please continue.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Anyway, please continue.
You know, man, doing that to someone who's got ADD is very, very, very horrible.
I am a terrible human being.
That's horrible.
Admittedly.
That's how you have to hear. What?
Yeah.
What? Okay, so
Panzer 44 was your quinto. Please continue.
I was looking at all the model trains and all that and all this, but then I saw this box because I was into World War II, right? Even when I was young, and it was what the hell was it? It was not Panzer Blitz, Panzer Leader.
Panzer Leader, okay.
Yeah, so I bought it, and I didn't know how to play it.
That's okay. Nobody knew how to play it at first. The guy that designed it didn't know how to play it at first, did he? I don't know who designed Panzer Leader. Was that a John Hill design as well? No, that couldn't be. I got Squad Leader on the head. Because Panzer Blitz which is where Panzer Leader was derived from, was a Denigan design. Designers credited by BGG on Panzer Leader are Dave Clark, Randall Reed, and Nick Smith. So,
holy moly, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Randall Reed had a lot of... he was a very interesting designer, let me put it that way.
Hey, can I show you what I got before we get into the studies?
All right, if it's not some kind of dildo or something like that, then sure.
Everybody's up in arms about this.
Sea Wolves Solitaire, Battles of the Atlantic. And now that's by whom?
Javier Rubio Torres. You thought I was going to say Bardem, man. But
no, but who's the publisher?
The publisher is Tergalium Games.
Sea Wolves Tergalium. Oh, okay. Well, hey, cool, new publisher. I'm happy about that.
And I mean, he's a Spaniard living in Germany, and I'm seeing this on Facebook and even on YouTube from many of because I do the news thing, right? So I peruse a lot of channels,
right?
And so I've been seeing a lot of this like crazy, and it's 100% everybody.
Okay. This is a 2023 release, immersive solitaire book game. Don't know what else Tergalium Games has done. They've done another thing called Rome's Defiance Hannibal.
And I think that's it.
Okay, but that's a board game, whereas Sea Wolves is a book game.
This is a book game.
So is it better than the Hunters? You
know what? I asked myself that. The Hunters is the Hunters. It's like a what's the B-17 of the submarine games type thing, right? This feels a bit different. I haven't played it.
Okay.
But it just feels a bit different. It's more on the what's that company? Grant Wiley has. What's it called?
Worthington Publishing.
So Worthington did a...
Yeah, Worthington's done a number of book solitaire games at this point.
He did the Bismarck, right? So basically, this is taking Bismarck and you're going detailed.
Okay.
So that's the way I feel that it's that type of game.
So does it come with counters?
Yes, it does, as a matter of fact.
Okay, because I'm seeing counters. I wouldn't have necessarily expected counters in a book game.
Counters, no. I think you either buy the book game, and then you can ask for counters, and a... What's this? You get enlarged map thingy.
Okay.
And then you get, instead of using the book to put your counters on,
you get a calendar?
You use stuff like this.
Okay. It's cool. I'm just looking at the pictures on BGG, and I'm like, oh, this is a very well produced graphically, certainly. Mr. Harold Buchanan, thanks for stopping by.
Harold's in the house.
Harold is in the house. Until he gets aggravated with this nonsense that we're up to this
That
evening.
should be 2 minutes from now.
Yeah, approximately, yeah. I mean, this is how it works, right? I picked up that issue of S&T a couple of years ago from Enterprise Games. And they charged me, I don't know, $20 or something like that for it unpunched. I was perfectly happy with that price. Remember, folks, don't pay $1 million for S&T games, or at least SPI or S&T games. Their circulation was like 30,000 and up. There's a lot of those games in that were in circulation at one point. So, Battle of Britain by Lou Zaki. Nice. That is pretty old.
You know, that's a wicked name. That's a very football name. And the coach, Luzaki.
Luzaki. Have you ever met Lou?
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, if you've ever been to a major convention, you would have met Lou, because he used to be a perennial fixture at Origins and Gen Con. I don't know about Gen Con, because I haven't been to Gen Con in 20 years, but he was at Origins fixture until just a couple of years ago, when he had whatever happened to Lou at Gen Con. He was not back the next year, so. Transportation custodian.
You know what? All these guys are scaring me, man.
Transportation hospitality specialist.
I thought it was going to be the little short, fat Italian janitor where everybody says, "Hey, Dan!"
I think you got it. That's actually a good point, that nobody has yet made a Mario and Luigi joke, but I'm sure that's coming. Is that the uniform? Just because I'm curious. And I say this as a proud 49% Italian American.
It's a red shirt, so I don't know.
So there you go. There you go. Perfidious Alvin got into Starfleet Battles. Remember, so which edition was that, though? Was it the original edition, the Commander's edition, or the Captain's edition? I am curious. That is a pretty striking, very punchy box cover. I'm pretty sure.
Same with me.
I'm reasonably sure that is another Roger McGowan cover, unless he is not credited as the artist on BGG, but that doesn't mean anything. So
that looks more like a Simonson cover.
Not to me, it doesn't. But Groucho says his first magazine was a French magazine game, and the magazine was Jeux et Stratégie in 1980. Interesting. When did Vevictus start getting published? Do you happen to know, Dan? Roughly? I'm not asking for an exact date.
No, but kudos on your French pronunciation.
Jeux et Stratégie?
Okay, don't push it.
Okay, well, I try. I took French. I took a year of French in high school. So I can sometimes sort of manage the pronunciation.
Good.
So, no, I can't speak it. Molotov Cocktail says that's not a Roger McGowan cover. So maybe it is Roger inspired, because I think it's clearly inspired by the Panzerblitz cover. And probably by I think the Squad Leader cover is in turn inspired by the Panzerblitz and Panzer Leader covers. Groucho says Vevictus began in the 90s, and that sounds about right to me.
You know who's back on? Not bankrupt anymore. Not Flying Pig Games, but the French...
Devil Pig Games? Devil
Pigs, yeah, I think they're back on.
Yeah, I'm not really clear on what's going on with that. They got bought by a larger company, as I recall, and basically got the shaft. I think I'm remembering this correctly, and they have said that they are reassuming control over their own IP. The creative people are, and they're going to do this stuff themselves. So whether Panzer 44, yeah, okay, you're right. I must be thinking of Panzer, actually, thinking about that, but
Jim Day's Panzer.
Yeah, that's what I'm clearly confusing Panzer 44 with. Remember this, that's a pretty old game. I guess it's fairly different now. It's significantly revised from its original incarnation or its subsequent incarnation. That was originally, as I recall, Yaquinto, and then it went to Excalibur Games, where it did not last long, because apparently James Day didn't want to deal with that guy. And then it landed with GMT, where it seems to have been doing pretty well, considering the amount of Did you pick up the North Africa box?
No, I've got everything but.
Okay, because it's got just tons and tons of stuff in it, and it's standalone too, which I didn't realize. Yeah. So there were 3 volumes that Yaquinto did: Panzer, Armor, and 88. And as I recall, I forget which is which. I think the original Panzer was East Front. I think 88 was West Front, and I think Armor. No, I got that wrong. I think Armor was West Front, and I think 88 was North Africa. So all those theaters have now been done in the new version of the game from GMT. So I don't know how to parse this information. I will assume, since William Aarons, thanks for coming by, is in fact Canadian, that he is drawing a meaningful distinction here amongst Canadian truck stops.
And I'm glad he did, because the other people were freaking me out there. No, it's a passenger vehicle thing. So truckers do come, but there's like at the most 10 trucks that are crashing out or something. And
do they have showers there?
No.
Okay, then you might be safe from people pooping in the sinks.
No.
At least it's going to be a rarer occurrence, maybe.
Yeah, but puking on the floor should happen.
I'd be surprised if it didn't. If truckers are staying there overnight, you're going to deal with that. Because they're going to...
in the building.
Oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
There's only toilets, man.
The truck stop sells alcohol, I'm led to believe, right?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so the truck stop sells alcohol. So what's going to happen is they're going to go sit in their truck for hours at a time, get all buttered up on whatever alcohol they bought at the truck stop, go back into the truck stop to use the bathroom, and end up shitting in the sink and throwing up all over the place.
Well,
so that's my guess. This my life experience to draw this conclusion is having been a dorm resident student at Ohio State University in the early 90s.
Well, thank you very much for
and
that.
The state of those elevators come Sunday morning was something else. Holy crap. Literally crap.
Oh, man. You know what? I didn't take advantage of those days.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Yeah, I took a little too much advantage of that at the time.
I drank and did shit, but I didn't go party and frat houses and frequent the other gender, you know what I'm saying?
I was only in a frat house a couple of times. There was a place, so there used to be, this is true. I'm sorry, Harold. It is the Ohio State University. So we were at this, we had just gotten there, right? And we're all freshmen. Everybody from our suite of rooms is like, went to this, got an invitation to some frat party. So we're like, yeah, man, cool frat party. They got a keg and everything. It's going to be awesome. So we go to this frat house and they got us this keg out in the backyard. And so I'm like, what kind of beer is this? I'm the only person that even thought to ask that question. But what kind of beer is this? I don't know. It's like somebody's trying to read it off the keg. It's like Hudipole Gold. Harold will remember Hudipole Gold, I'm sure. Hudipole Gold was this beer in Cincinnati. And this stuff was nasty. So I did live in the towers. I lived in 18 Lincoln Tower, actually. So there's like 5 of us that like pour the keg and we tap the keg and we got the plastic cup full of beer, like, yeah, man, the keg party is awesome, yeah. Everybody simultaneously takes a sip and then dumps it out on the ground and we left. That's how bad. We were not choosy drinkers back in the day. It was definitely not a quantity over quality over quantity thing.
How come
and we friggin' left.
How come Harold was in the East?
Harold's from Ohio.
I didn't know that. I thought he was a West Coast guy.
He is on the West Coast now. You know why? Because it's nice there. It's shitty in Ohio.
Cripe.
So
I didn't say Christ. I said cripe.
That's fine. We're in the middle of the show now. We're safe from demonetization unless Dan brings up any of those forbidden topics that I've told him not to bring up. There you go. I'm sorry, Harold, but at least you were close to Kentucky. So Kentucky is culturally very similar to Ohio, to be honest about it. Kentucky. And that's where the bourbon comes from.
You know what? The states, like the states themselves, the 52 states,
The 50 states?
Whatever, 52, 507. Who cares?
It could be 52. Anytime
Well,
it could be 52.
you know, soon it's
So-
going to be 2 states. But anyways, let's not get into that. I don't have the same feelings that you guys live with every day being an American. You know, like, oh, Kentucky means this and Ohio means that. And the provinces here, yeah, they mean whatever they mean. But I'd love to go to Kentucky, man. I'd love to.
It's a naturally beautiful state. So is West Virginia. David Imperato, this is worse than Rolling Rock. I can vouch that Hudipole was worse than Rolling Rock. That said, Hudipole is no longer in business. Their former Hudipole brewery in Cincinnati, as far as I'm aware, is still in operation and is now making Sam Adams.
Oh,
and
geez.
So that's a step up right there. Perfidious Albion mentions Tim Hortons, so for a while, Wendy's, which is headquartered in Columbus, had I'm not sure if it was a majority, but they were part owners of Tim Hortons. And so there's Tim Hortons all over Columbus. And even up here in the Akron area now, there's a few. We actually stopped at Tim's over the weekend and got donuts. Delicious, delicious donuts.
You know, Harold...
I mean, it was a good donut. I got to hand it to the people at that Tim's.
You know, Harold knows how to get to me. He read me a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
Hold on, I want to put Harold Stingy up. You know, he knows how to get to me, and I can't help it but want to beat him up. Just got a strike.
Unless Harold is at least 2 feet shorter than I believe him to be, you're going to have a slightly difficult time even reaching him. So there's that Keystone beer. Keystone. We got to come down to...
I'm down where?
WBC. WBC. I don't like Krispy Kreme donuts. I think the secret to Krispy Kreme donuts is that they're warm sometimes. All donuts are awesome when they're warm. I go to Kroger at 7 in the morning and you get warm donuts and they're awesome. So remember, Perry Sparopoulos, when the money's tight, it's a Wiedemann night. So...
You know, let it be known that I didn't do this.
We cannot buy Everclear here in Ohio, so you got to go to Kentucky to get it, or somewhere else. I don't know where you'd go to get it, but Ohio does have Waffle House. Waffle House is nasty, I got to tell you. It used to have the virtue of being cheap and open all night, and now it's not cheap, and I'm not even sure it's open all night anymore. This is good. This could easily be a T-shirt, Harold.
What's he insinuating?
Just so you know. Back in my reenactor days, the mystery beverage of choice was Everclear mixed with Gatorade. So at least you didn't get dehydrated when you were passed out in a ditch to be awakened the next morning by the porta potty cleaning truck.
God, man. You know,
I'm always tempted by this game whenever I see this on the shelf at Compass Expo because they still haven't sold out of it. But then I look at it and I'm like, there's something about it I don't like, a point-to-point map or something like that. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
All out of bubblegum, of course.
Yeah. So Cincinnati chili is actually much better once you've given up the idea that it is supposed to be chili. It's its own thing. It's really not chili in the sense that other chili is chili. So supposedly, the big regional cuisine here in Akron, Ohio is fried chicken. Don't know why. But here, that's what Akron fried chicken is a thing up here. I don't know why. I've had some good fried chicken.
Swiss Chalet. He's talking about the actual block where my hobby store was. I think it was right next to Swiss Chalet, and Swiss Chalet it's like a bagels place in Montreal, like a smoked meat place. You gotta try.
The Swiss are not known for their amazing bagels. I'm just saying.
Not even the chicken, I guess. So why Swiss Chalet? I don't know. That's a good point, but that's not what I'm saying. But
Barberton chicken specifically is a thing. Don't ask me why. I have a thing against going into Canton. I don't like to go into Canton because I think it's a shithole. And my wife has a thing about going to Barberton because she thinks it's a shithole. So we are a shithole-rich environment here in Northeast Ohio, I'm afraid.
Man, I've been watching some videos of like the really rundown places in the States and Detroit and all that. Holy moly.
Oh, we're lucky. I mean, we got it. It's not that bad here, to be honest. Not as bad as even parts of Ohio. If you go to Youngstown or Warren, for example, where literally all the jobs left, all the jobs packed up and went to Mexico or Brazil or wherever they went.
A lot of houses boarded up.
Oh, a lot of, houses boarded up, riddled with bullet holes, reek of crack when you're, all over the place, or whatever other drugs the people are doing now. I don't know, but it's bad. It's post-industrial wasteland. Nobody's got a job. It's weird. It's actually weird. And even Warren and Youngstown are not as bad as a place like Bethlehem, PA, which is just a ghost town. Last I was through there.
Man, that's sad, man.
It is. I actually passed on Twilight of the Reich based on the fact that I don't get to play that much ASL, so it felt superfluous to me. I got tons of ASL. I got a lifetime worth of ASL and no lifetime left to play it in. So,
how often you play it, man?
I haven't played ASL in about since before COVID, just before COVID. So it's been 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, something like that.
You're not gonna let them go, huh?
Well, I mean, I still got all the stuff, and I got, I'll buy the new Dune battalions whenever Multiman does it, which is probably not later than early next year, I think. But it's a nice looking package, but I just said I don't need it. If I want to play this material, I know people, so I'm fine. Because I don't have everything, and I can't get everything, right? I'm not... How much? It was like 125 or 150 or something like that.
A big one.
It's pretty big. Yeah, it's a 3-inch box. It's got a lot of material in it. But I'm not positive about this, but okay. Wife's wife is working in Talmadge. Talmadge is nice, actually. And we're doing fine in our area. But Twilight of the Reich is not a core module. That is true. John Stanley says, Hillbillies coming up. Route 23 for jobs from the 1940s onwards. They brought up, that could be. Route 23 goes right through downtown Columbus, by the way. So, and you should come down to Origins, Dan. I'm just saying.
I'm just waiting for Ardy Fest.
Well, you gotta, it's like another hour to go to Origins. I mean...
And then, there's 50,000 people or 100?
No, it's more like 16, 17 maybe. Depends on how the attendance looks this year. But I think last year it was like 16 or 17 or something like that.
Man, the older and the fatter and the stupider I get, I just want to stay home. You know what I'm saying?
I get that. I have some sympathy for that, and there are plenty of times when I just really like to fucking just tune out and stay home. But I got shit to do. I don't have time to stay home.
I'm not a young buck like Harold Buchanan there.
Yeah, the youngsters like Harold and John Longshore sucking up all the fun. What can I say?
Bloody hell, man.
So Eric Hansen is born in Detroit but lived in Canada. I mean, he doesn't have to walk far apparently. So.
I guess he lives in Toronto.
Yeah. At some point, I'd like to go up to Ann Arbor to go to Calcium Con, which is up there, but I'll have to wear a false mustache, of course. It's my contractual obligation. I got a piece of paper that says I had to do that from Ohio State. So there you go, Dan. Harold has invited both of us to SD Histon, Newport, Rhode Island. This sounds like an awesome event, by the way. I'm not positive Dan's going to pass the security screening.
Hold on, Rhode Island. That's New York.
No, it's Rhode Island, actually.
Oh, it's San Diego. Harold,
so,
I appreciate it so much. How the hell am I going to get there?
All right, huh? So Harold's got two, actual face-to-face events happening, one of which is SD HistCon out in San Diego, which has been going on for quite a while. And the other of which started last year, is the thing in Newport, Rhode Island at the Naval War College. So if you got New York, so picture in your head, You got the U.S. East Coast. You got New York, right here. And then just up along the coast next to that is Connecticut, where Compass Games is and Compass Expo is and all that. So like only 3 hours from you, Dan, you can't go. 3 hours, you can't make it. And then right next to that is Rhode Island.
Well, hold on, he's in San Diego.
Harold is in San Diego, yeah, but Compass is in Connecticut, and Rhode Island is probably, it might even be closer to you than Connecticut. Probably not. It's probably a little further than Connecticut, but it's eminently drivable, is what I'm saying.
Was Harold going to Rhode Island?
Harold is running this event, the U.S. Navy War College in Rhode Island in August.
Rhode Island in the east, right?
Yes, it's in the east. I just explained the entire. I painted a picture for you.
Screaming, for God's sake!
Oh my God! Yeah, this is it. If Dan's coming, we got to have an answer to this, Harold. You got to make sure that the toilets are USDA certified. And I'm a little. I got to tell you, Dan. Here's the problem. It's on an actual U.S. military installation. You got to have security clearance to attend.
Look, man, it's only about 8 hours away from me. New York City.
Oh, it's not. I'd be shocked if it was 8 hours. I think it's more like 5.
New York City's 8 hours away. Oh, I studied in Jersey.
Yeah, but New York City is like 150 miles from there. So there's no scale bar on that map. But Porta reinforcements for Dan. Yeah, just make sure the fellow with the hose is on call.
Well, you know what, Harold? It's in November, and let me get my bearings straight. And you know what? I might just take you up on that, Harold.
Okay, hold on. The thing in San Diego is in November. The thing in Rhode Island is in August.
Okay, I'm screwed up. I don't know what the hell is going on.
All right, August, Rhode Island. November, which is Veterans Day weekend, is the one in San Diego. Now, there are going to be, I think, 3 Wargame or whatever focused events that happening that weekend. I mean, it is, if you think about it, a very suitable weekend to do Wargames on, right? There's going to be Harold out in San Diego with the SD HistCon folk. There's going to be Compass Expo up in whatever, Connecticut. And there's going to be Desert FoxCon in Dallas, which is a pretty freshly announced new convention that they are starting up. It is basically the official Decision Games convention. So,
you know, if you were to test me on this, Dan, what did we talk about?
Yeah, if you go to Compass Expo, just get your COVID shot before you go, is all I got to say about that. I'm just saying.
As soon as
COVID is rife at that event, apparently.
Every COVID shot I got COVID.
Meriden, you probably didn't get COVID. You probably just felt like crap for a couple of days. There you go. We get Stigler down. You know what?
I love that guy, man.
You have no idea how much I want to set up a GoFundMe to send Stigler on an all-expenses-paid trip to Dallas on Veterans Day weekend just for that. I mean, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Is it a solitaire convention?
I hope not. What, has everybody got like their own room? I mean, that makes no sense at all. I see people going to convention every once in a while. I mean, at like a convention that draws, I don't know, 150 people or something like that. I'll usually see 1 or 2 people go in, set up some solitaire game, and just solitaire away. And you know, it's a free country. If that's, I mean, I don't think there's much point to that. If you're going to go to a convention, I could play a solitaire game at home.
No, man, I've seen guys drinking.
What?
I've seen guys drinking 7-Up at a bar. So give me a break. Say.
Well, yeah, I mean, here in Akron, we have dry bars.
Just stay home. Just stay home.
Well, you know, you don't get the socialization experience that you have if you're, alcoholics need socialization too. So thank God, I hope so. We better have a hose of sanitizer available.
Yes. Don't worry about it.
Not really. This trend has been misreported in a couple of places. Let me Let me put it that way.
Wow.
So
Harold went from Texas to California. Talk about culture shock.
now I could live it. I mean, money aside, like right, assuming I was independently. Well, let's say I hit the lottery. Okay, I could live wherever I wanted. I would never move to Texas. No, I would visit Texas. There's plenty of cool things to see and do in Texas, but I would never want to live in Texas. For the weather, if not, no, fuck that. If you're gonna have a ranch, have a ranch in like Montana or Wyoming or something like that.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I don't think there's any land left in Montana to buy.
So, well, no, it's all owned by the same 5 landowners. But other than that, yeah, I'm sure it's fine. But whatever, right? I could buy 100 acres here in Ohio if I really wanted to. I'm not sure I'd want to do that if I could live wherever I wanted.
Are there a lot of woods in Ohio?
Yeah, decent amount. Yeah, once you get out of the cities. Ohio's pretty rural once you get out of the cities. But it depends on what city you're talking about. If you go up to Cleveland, for example, there's, Cleveland, it's on the lake, and then you've got a ring of suburbs around Cleveland, which are basically indistinguishable from Cleveland, except that the food's better. And then you have suburbs that are more recognizably suburbs, and then you have suburbs that are more suburban and hoity-toity, and then so you've got like 7 or 8 different rings of suburbs around Cleveland. And by the time you get to ring 5 or 6, you start to hit another significant metropolitan area like Lorain or Akron or something like that. So it's a pretty dense, not as dense as like, New York, but it's pretty dense metro area. In contrast, in Columbus, there are farms in Columbus still today inside the city limits of Columbus. You'll like be driving and be like, oh, here's a farm randomly. That's weird.
Seriously?
There's like one ring of suburbs around the city and then corn. And hell is real, and that's the Ohio experience.
Harold moved to San Diego.
I hear the weather's. I've never been to San Diego. I hear the weather is the best in the country.
And seriously, wow. Okay.
So here's why I say that. My dad was a pilot, and he flew freight, right? So he's a commercial pilot for Airborne Express, but they got bought up by DHL, and then that did whatever. So he would go all over the country, right, and even sometimes to Canada. And he always said the best weather is San Diego. So that's what I'm basing that claim on.
Now, what's the woodland look? Is there a lot of woods in San Diego? Or
yes, there's woods, but they're on fire. So yes. No, California it's very different from Ohio, where we have like a lot of like rolling countryside here in Ohio, and there's some rocky areas too, and some deciduous woodlands and stuff like that. It's a lot more evergreen in California. A lot of times there's a lot of desert out there. For example, a huge chunk of California is a desert. San Francisco is a friggin' desert. It rains like an inch a year there.
I want to live in a place there where I can still smell cow shit.
And the Chinese, Ohio fit right in then. Ohio is, Southern California is like that whole coastal strip for a good chunk of the state is desert, right? And then we did go to see the giant sequoias when we were out there.
I've never seen that. I think it would be a moment.
It's pretty cool. I don't know if Central Valley is considered desert or if it's considered like steppe or butte or I don't know, something like that. But
I'd freak out to see.
Yeah, I mean, watch Chinatown. Actually, it talks about the water problems that they had in California or Los Angeles back in mid 20th century, right? This is the weird thing about San Francisco, though, is now 30 minutes from San Francisco actually probably means 3 hours from San Francisco, for one thing, judging from the traffic there. The traffic there is pretty bad. But you could go inland just a little ways and the weather's complete. It's like a totally different climate zone. Or go down the coast for a little ways and it's a totally different climate zone. Or go north up the highway over the bridge and it's a totally different climate zone. So
You know, I
So
love
the
that
good
name.
news is it's not on fire right now.
I
So
love that name Achilles. I have a lot of Greek friends
Achilles!
that that are named after like Socrates. I know Socrates, man. I know. I think I know Hercules.
Do you
but
know
that's not-
Vangelis? Did you know Vangelis too? Vangelis.
Who's Vangelis?
Vangelis. Come on, Dan. You don't know you don't remember who Vangelis is?
Vangelis.
I don't know how the Greeks pronounce his friggin' name. I don't speak Greek. Any form of Greek. Either the old Greek or the less old Greek or the new Greek.
It's Vangelis.
All right. Well, I'll take your word for it. There's no reason why the G should be soft. Thinking about it, we went on the boat tour of San Francisco Bay, which does like the boat kind of puts past Alcatraz, and it's neat. You don't get to really see a whole lot, but
I want Harold to wine and dine me at one of the best restaurants in San Diego if I get there.
Harold, what's the best restaurant in San?
Can you wine
What's the
and
best
dine
restaurant in San Diego that actual human beings can afford? Let me ask it that way.
Platonic.
I certainly hope so. But
I have mic problem.
no, you're fine. I think he just means that you're some stupid shit was set into your mic by someone.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Waffle House is the finest cuisine. I have despised Waffle House since I was a kid. So going to California, one of the things you notice immediately is the just incredible either Latino or Asian food. This is actually Asian food's true in Seattle too, actually, but we don't have. It's hard to find good like Chinese food or even Mexican food here. You can generally find Tex-Mex. That's easy to find, but good Chinese food is difficult. There is a really good place in Cleveland, but it's like 45 minutes away. I'm not going to go to lunch at 45 minutes for lunch. Yeah, or Del Taco. It's got to be Del Taco for Dan. That's the finest place in California for tacos, Dan.
And you know what?
I'm
Hold
pretty
on a
sure.
second. I've actually been to Corpus Christi.
In Texas?
Christi. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a gig there a long time ago.
Okay. You know that means body of Christ, right?
I'm Italian.
Okay. Please continue.
Yes. Corpo di Cristo. And I don't think you could get better tacos than in Corpus Christi, other than.
Oh well, I'll totally believe that. I mean, that's Texas. Yeah. I'm talking the difference between California and friggin' Ohio, right?
I don't know anything about California, man.
It's nice. The weather's nice. Housing costs are astronomical. Gas prices are high. Other things are not as much more expensive as people seem to think. There's the classic Streets of San Francisco, a Quinn Martin production.
I would throw up. I can't do this.
Can't
do it.
It's not up and down like that though. It's kind of mostly up or down. You're kind of picking a direction to go. We went to a tourist trappy place in San Francisco's Chinatown, and I'll tell you what, their crappy tourist trap Chinese food is better than anything I can get here in Ohio. So, yeah, look at this, the deathly pallor. I mean, he hasn't seen the sun in months. Look at him, so pasty.
Actually, it was 18 degrees here today, so it would be your 70 degrees or something like that.
18 degrees is really?
Is it? I don't know. I talked with Carl Kreider, and he's all.
Yeah, okay. 18 degrees is I cannot grok Celsius degrees when we're talking about. We're talking about like temperatures that I would experience out in the world. If we're talking about Celsius temperatures in a laboratory with chemicals and stuff, that's different.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but there's like a connection to the real world that a lot of folks that grew up with Fahrenheit, the Fahrenheit scale, just can't quite put that together. You think 30 degrees, you hear 30 degrees, and you think, well, that's like okay, right? No, you would die if you were in 30 degree Celsius. That's like 125 degrees or something like that. It's 86, but still, it's warm. So
30 degrees is 86?
30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
Really? That's super warm, man. Okay, I got you. So
86 it's not that warm.
But when it's 100, Carl, sometimes I FaceTime Carl, and it's like it's 110 degrees here. 110 degrees.
Yeah. But it's a dry heat.
What the hell does that mean?
That means you're less uncomfortable when you pass out from heat stroke. That's what that means. It means you're still gonna like your bodily functions are still all gonna cut loose. I'm afraid, but you won't feel quite as bad when you shit yourself from heat stroke.
When you go to sleep and the fat of my cheek is on my neck, am I sweating that night or is it a dry heat?
No, because you have air conditioning. At Canada, do you guys have air conditioning in Canada?
Yeah, we got street lights too.
Well, no, I'm asking. This is not the Canada's a third world country joke. This is like in like the UK or even in like Portland, they don't necessarily feel like that's a necessity, right? Until it is when it's 120 degrees. Then suddenly it's a necessity, and everybody's like, "Why do we have air conditioning here again?"
In Montreal, it's a necessity.
Okay. Okay. It is a necessity here in Ohio. I can tell you that. So, yeah, if it's minus 35, just wear a light coat. You're fine. You're fine.
Minus 35 Celsius.
Yeah, there's so if you scale it out, so where it's something like minus 35, where the temperature is the same on both scales at a given temperature.
You know what happens at that temperature? You walk out, and you better start blinking a lot, because if you keep your eyes open, they're all going to go with frost. The air you breathe in, all the snots in your nose is all going to crisp up. And when you breathe, it's like knives in your lungs.
Yeah, we're gonna start measuring that. This is going to be the temperature of the reception that Dan gets when he puts in for a security clearance with the Navy.
Jesus. No.
So anyway, yeah, that's weird. It's like we've got like partial metric system here. There's some odds and ends that are sold in metric amounts, right? And there's no good reason for it.
The Americans should sincerely drop the what do they call that system?
It's the American system. It's not exactly the same as the old British imperial system.
So,
but
I mean,
it's us, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, I think, are the only three countries, last I checked, that were not using metric.
When I figured out the metric system, it was an epiphany, because everything's in pens.
No, I took enough science classes that metric units to me are no problem anywhere except temperature, because it's arbitrary, right? That's how they created Celsius, was they said 0 is when water freezes and 100 is when water boils, and that's that. And okay, but then you got in an actual science thing, you'd probably be using Kelvin anyway, right? Which is just Celsius. It starts at 0, 0, 0, instead of at whatever random place Of course, it's more complicated than this, right? Because water, depending on what kind of water or what isotopes of hydrogen are in the water, heavy water freezes at a different temperature than regular water, for example. So it's all more complicated than folks wanted to say.
Wait. You got to put Harold. Hold on. Yeah. Why does that affect me personally when Harold says it? I have no idea.
He is just so charming. That's why. He is just such a charming and loquacious individual. How many millimeters to the hogshead? I got a better idea. Now, if somebody wants to Google this, you can do that because that's the world we live in. But I challenge you to give me an answer to this important trivia question without looking it up on Google. What is the imperial, so not metric, but US/UK traditional units, unit of mass?
A hogshead?
No, it's not a hogshead. A hogshead is a barrel size. What is the traditional unit to use to measure mass in the US/UK system? It's not stone either, but it's good. That's good. Good guess, actually. The whole metric time thing was the thing that didn't go. Everything else went through. They just decided, this metric time thing is just stupid. We're not doing this. So
what is it, Ardy?
It is Perfidious Albion has it. It's the slug. Is the unit used to measure mass. Pounds measure weight, not mass. So
right.
Stone is a good guess because it's just, something that nobody really uses. But it's slugs.
Well, the English use a stone.
It's more common there. There's sometimes that's regionally. That's a thing that's done regionally, right? Sometimes you'll hear like leagues and farthings and stuff. Farthings is a coin. Furlongs, stuff like that. You'll still see those units pop up here and there.
I like this, Ardy, for some reason.
So, units of mass is done in fat bastards. Mike Myers agrees. That's fine. We got a whole lot of mass here on the show tonight. What can I say?
Bloody hell.
So, as usual, the French did it right, and we're waiting for everybody else to catch up. So,
hold on. What does Harold say here? Okay, hold on. Yeah,
I'd have to figure this out. You could calculate this. No, but I know no normal person just knows this off the top of their head. But the Roman. So the Roman. I could. Do you want the speech about the Roman timekeeping system, Dan? All right, so you got the traditional Roman timekeeping system, which is basically bullshit. Until Julius Caesar comes along and says, hey, this way we've been tracking, this is bullshit. We got to fix this. And came up with the Julian calendar, which took a while to settle in, by the way. So the Romans commonly, and in official documents and stuff, would not list the year, which is the years after the founding of the city, which, as I recall, is 756 BC, something like that. So if we say that Caesar conquers Gaul in, 50, so we're talking about 706 AEC, AUC is what it would be. But the Romans didn't commonly refer to years that way. They would refer to it as the year of the consulship of so-and-so and such and such. That's how they would actually do that. When I wrote a paper about the Roman military back in college, I actually took pains to every time I gave a year that way. And in the year of the consulship of so-and-so and such and such, this happened. So and I might have gotten extra points for that.
So when did the Roman numeral system come in? Because BC, I don't know how you would the Roman numeral BC. Well, you put a negative to it. That's all. Okay.
So there's no BC. The Romans did not have BC. Okay, BC and AD is something that emerged hundreds of years after. At least sometime after the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Let me put it that way. It's early medieval or Dark Ages or late antiquity thing. Okay.
So what did they use?
They used AUC, Anno Urbe Condita, or something like that. Years of the city. From from the traditional founding of the city of Rome by Romulus and Remus and all those people, or maybe the Trojans if you ask them. So, middle beard thingy. Assuming he was sunbathing. I mean, this kind of geometry is not the kind of thing I can indulge in at 8:25 p.m. on a school night, Harold. It is now BCE, before Common Era. So, but it's the same thing, right?
Hey, Ardy, this is funny. This is funny.
Clearly. So just imagine how. So the Roman way of of marking numbers was basically the same as everybody else used back in the ancient world, which was to just use the alphabet, and any given, I don't have water down here, any given letter just stood for a particular number. And the Romans did that, and the Romans were important, so we managed to remember how they did it. Because imagine doing any math in Roman numerals. Just imagine that. Yeah, anything that's more complicated than adding like 2 plus 3 becomes nightmarish in Roman numerals.
Roman numerals?
What do you mean? Am I familiar with Roman? Yeah.
No,
We're all familiar with Roman numerals.
Seriously, really?
Yeah.
So,
I forgot, Dan. You guys don't have the Super Bowl up there. So when you start getting it, if you look at some old books published in like mid-20th century, that is, you'll sometimes see like high end copyright MCM, whatever, the 1956 or whatever in Roman numerals, which is weird. But you'll sometimes see that, or see that in movie credits or something like that. That's not that old. It is that old, actually. We're just old. But
you see, Mike, meandering Mike, that to me, firstly, would be like the dominant going to the mediant, but the dominant has something special, so the third is raised. But then it's music. He's talking music. What am I talking about?
Okay, well, I'll assume there's some kind of deep musical analogy here that I'm not privy to. That is not a problem. So, the kids are having trouble with analog clocks these days.
Yeah, my daughter and both my daughters.
Who cares, man? Who cares? If we're not using analog clocks anymore, who cares?
Yeah, but what about script? Writing a script there. What do you call it?
So there's something more to that because
man.
That's not the problem that us not teaching cursive handwriting to kids anymore. The problem that is there is not the problem that people say is there. It is not particularly important to teach kids to write in cursive. Not at all. You could just block print. Done. Reading in cursive, however, allows you to read many documents that were written in cursive. So there is a value there. Now, in the future, it probably looks like only like professionals translating ancient manuscripts or whatever are going to have the ability to decipher cursive writing or something like that. I don't know.
I enjoy handwriting, and I'm a fountain pen enthusiast.
He's a man of many interests, folks.
And the thing is that it's such a beautiful way of wording stuff, man. Of seeing the word on the paper. It's just
so I have not, other than my signature, I have not written a word in cursive since probably 9th grade. I gotta be honest. Yeah, and I'm 52, 53. 53. Ugh.
That blows me away, man.
Yeah. Now, the reason I was probably ahead of that, because I took 4 years of mechanical drawing in college, where you do not write in cursive. You have a specific style of letters that you do all the writing in. So, thank you. Thank you. Peace be upon you. Okay, I got it. Took me a second. But that is often how we are here, folks, on Tuesday nights when we don't have a special guest. We have a who writes checks anymore? I have written exactly when we bought the house. I did have occasion to have actual checks, but I would go to the bank and get a cashier's check.
Actually, I don't. I write in cursive when I do checks.
Harold, is this really a direction you'd like to explore, to talk about Dan and his duct tape collection and duct tape magazine? And
too personal now.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's hurting me.
Oh, yeah, this German Fraktur script is hellishly difficult. It's beautiful, but it's very difficult to read if you're not used to it. And that's what it is, right? You're not used to it.
I practiced the Fraktur calligraphy, man.
Lots of people Yeah, plus I had this background in gaming where you were kind of incentive. I felt obliged to print on my character sheets, right? So I liked my drafting instructor, actually. Although I don't think I was prepared to go to college based on that experience. Let me put it that way. That's a bit. There's more to that story than I feel capable of communicating now.
Brutal? Why is he brutal? Who's Jay
Who's brutal?
Sturgill?
Well, he's here. That's who he is. Well, I guess he took drafting at one point. We actually did do a little bit of CAD work in those classes. Not much, but it was mostly we had an actual blueprint machine in the classroom, right? It was mostly you do your drawings on this sort of translucent paper, and then you'd run it through the blueprint machine, and blueprint would come out. See, he's brutal. I told you.
I know. Hey, Ardy, what are you watching on Netflix? Because we're about to wrap it up, obviously. So, what are you watching? What show are you watching now?
I did watch something on Netflix not too long ago. What was it? I watched about an episode and a half of The Blacklist.
Oh, my God.
I've watched, I don't know, it's probably the 18th or 20th episode of that I've watched over the last 3 years. I'll every once in a while I got counters to clip or something. I'll just put something on, and I can't make up my mind, so I'll put it on an episode of The Blacklist. It's kind of
I get it.
It's a very contrived show, but whatever.
I'm watching a show called Bodies, where the same body appears, and it's flipping me out here because we just picked it at random. The same body appears dead in different eras of history.
What?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not sure what that means.
It means that a doctor, a police officer from the year 1852 will see the same dead body as a future officer in 2310 will see the same body in World War II. The same officer, not the same officer, an officer will see the same body. And World War I, that same body is there for another officer to discover.
I feel like I'm not actually high, but I feel slightly high after hearing that explanation.
Isn't it great?
I'm not sure that makes any sense whatsoever.
I probably can't even repeat what I just said because I don't even remember it.
Good. Neither do I. Awesome. The Batman is on not the original, but the Dune Part 1 was actually on Netflix until Friday when the new one came out.
Yes, it was. I mean, it must still be on, right?
No, it left Netflix on Friday.
Why did you do that for?
Because the new one's coming out.
Yeah, but they don't let me watch the old one.
I was not consulted. They do not ask me what would be a good idea. They only do the dumbest possible thing. What can I say?
And I pay for that.
And you pay for that.
I pay for stupidity.
Yep. It's apparently still on Hulu, but I don't have Hulu, so because Hulu doesn't have any content that I really want to watch. I'll just go pay for Max or whatever the hell they're calling it now to get all this stuff if I need to see it again. I'll probably end up buying it, to be honest. So
you mean buying it digitally or actual physical copy?
So normally I would say digitally. In this particular case, I might just push the button and buy a physical disc of it because it's
buying digitally.
It's like
you bought something you can't hold. You don't have
that doesn't bother me at all. But there have been occasions where digital goods have vanished suddenly overnight.
You see,
and that's not good. I've heard good things about Only Murders in the Buildings. So, but the new Dune Part 2 was really good. It's probably a better film than the first one. I probably need to see it again.
You sound really excited about that.
Prime Video. Well, I liked it. I told my wife this way. It's like, look, she's a big Harry Potter fan, and so when the movie comes out of whatever Harry Potter Part 75 or whatever it is, you would naturally really, really, really want to go see it because you're a big fan of the property. That is how I felt with this property. So it was never a question of whether I was going to go see it or not. So, but I saw it. I liked it. It was good. I want to see it again. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in the theater because it's inconvenient to go to the theater. It might just wait till it comes out on video, which is probably only a couple months from now, and then I can watch it from the safety and comfort of my very own toilet. So,
You know what I'm saying?
I think it is. I think if you're a really big fan of the books, I do think it is worth your time to run down the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries, both of them.
You know, I was going to say, how far did they get into the books?
They got 3 books in. They finished book 3, Children of Dune. And they did an excellent job with both Dune Messiah and Children of Dune, I thought.
Okay, Children of
Better than they did with the first book, in my opinion.
I really enjoyed Dune Messiah. Yeah.
Really? It's kind of a snooze. I thought it's a bit of a snooze fest. I struggled to get through it the first couple of times, but then again, I struggled to get through Dune the first couple of times too. But I was friggin' 10 when I tried to read it the first time. So no kidding that didn't figure it out. I don't know. Have they actually greenlit part 3? Because they could. The movie had a pretty good worldwide opening, so I think it's going to do.
Hold on a second here, Ardy. The Dune book, the first Dune book, is complete now, movie-wise, right?
Correctamundo. Dune Part 3, if it's called Dune Part 3, I don't know that it will be, although that's what I would call it, just to make people not confused, is going to be Dune. Yeah, exactly. And then if that's successful, they'll probably make Children of Dune, even if Denis Villeneuve doesn't want to make it. So that's my guess. I think you could find the Sci-Fi Channel versions of Dune on YouTube, ironically enough.
Yes, you can. You can.
So,
and you know what? It's not that bad, man.
I'm excited about Glory and Empire. I want to hear more about Glory and Empire. I also would like Glory and Empire to come out. And I have every confidence that David will get it out at some point. But I will bring you content on it when it's closer. There has been talk of Ringworld, some kind of Ringworld adaptation for many years.
That would be something.
Yeah. Book 2, remember, so book 2 I almost feel like it's the epilogue to the first book. So Dune Messiah is kind of the epilogue to Dune, where a lot of the stuff that is kind of easy to miss in Dune is spelled out more directly in Dune Messiah. And then it's not really until Children of Dune that the story really starts to move forward again in a substantial way.
Well, I would say Splinter.
So there are people who were shocked and appalled that the Alexander production on Netflix included gay people. Shocked and appalled. Shocked and appalled.
That's stupid, man.
That Alexander has some gay in it.
You know,
shocked and appalled.
You know, Harold, you should be proud of me because it was the sign of the times back then. So I know there was homosexuality back then.
There's books on this. It's pretty interesting actually because the idea about that was very different in the past than the notion that we have about it right now.
Yeah.
In any case, we have had enough for this evening, folks, and I have to go refresh myself on my amazing, but not as amazing as Dan's toilet.
You know, Ardy, I just want to say something that if we were Greek soldiers, Spartans back then, if we were Spartans, you and I, and you saved my life, and I saved your life, and you saved my life, I'd nail you.
Well, thanks, I guess. I don't know, man. I'm not really sure how that's even how it worked, but in any case,
love, man.
Folks, you could do the research or whatever. You could do the research yourself. So I will leave it till next week, where we will have actual guests on. Next week we will be bringing you the folks behind the brand new version of Ace of Aces, which is on Kickstarter right now. So it's actually pretty cool looking. So we will be
doing with that. I got a back. I'm back.
Oh yeah, I would say so. It's a Bildungsroman of Wargaming live streams is what it is. So I do understand what this means. You realize, but Anyway, all right, folks, I have had more than enough of this bullshit this evening. So I am going to let everybody go. We will be back next week with the folks behind Ace of Aces, and then I'll be back on Monday night, and there'll be videos all week. And Dan's got stuff, and everybody's got stuff. So everybody have a great rest of the night, and thanks for coming by.
Big move. Big win. The moose is loose. Big moves. Big win. The moose is loose.